Too much stew.
Too much stew. All right. Well, we'll just go ahead and get started with session 8. I think it's session 8, based on what you were saying last week, Matt. Okay.
Yep.
So last session, you guys found a family in distress. You left the lodge at Winter Park, ran into a family in distress, figured out that their son had fallen into a pit and was impaled on a couple pikes. You managed, oh, hey, there he is. You managed to rescue the kid, get him off the pikes and get him out of the pit and help the family. They said they were making their way towards some sort of safe house, with the words that they used. You guys were en route to a sort of like a trade outpost that is connected to Marcus's faction. And you eventually made your way there, ran into 2 snipers that were lying in wait. But luckily they were not hostile. They were actually the 2 members of the Trail Angels that Marcus was looking for. When you get to their little, when you get to the hideout, there is an entire cadre of people there. There is an EMT. There is this companion that's been following the EMT. There's a very sick woman named Georgia. There is a pastor named Leon. There's this sort of gruff, rotund old man that hasn't said much yet. And then there's the 4 of you and the family. Bunk inspected Georgia, the sick woman that's just that the EMT has been kind of taken care of. And Bunk determined that her symptoms pointed to hemlock poisoning. And Alex, upon hearing this, very awkwardly repeated that back to Bunk, saying, hemlock poisoning. And that phrase drew the attention of Leon from out front, who was manning the stew that Bunk had created. And that was kind of where we left it off. So at this point, what would you guys like to do?
One question before we get too deep into story stuff.
Yeah.
We talked about experience at the last last session, and it's been so long since I've spent any.
Okay.
Maybe need a refresher on that.
So, the basics are each rank in the skill that you want to increase costs you 5 experience times the level that you want to go to. So if you're at 0 and you want to go to skill level 1, that costs 5 experience. If you're at 1 and you want to go to 2, that costs you 10 experience. If you're at 2 and you want to go to 3, it's 15, etc. If there's a new talent that you want to learn, you have to, it costs, I don't remember off the top of my head. I want to say like 10 XP.
Checking your physical copy right now?
I am.
Badass.
Link in the description.
10. Costs 10 XP to get a talent, and you have to learn that talent from somebody that already has it. So if there's a talent that you want to pick up, somebody, either one of the other players, one of the other characters, or somebody else, like one of the NPCs, if they've got that talent that you want to pick up, they have to spend a shift of time teaching it to you, and then you have to roll I think it's insight, successfully roll insight to be able to understand what you've been taught.
Here he is.
Check.
Hey, what's up, Matt?
Nothing much.
Safe flight, no catastrophes in the air, no mid-air
super
collisions.
safe. Still here.
Sweet.
All right, so for instance, if I want insight to go from 0 to 1 and observation to go from 1 to 2, that would cost me 15 because one would cost 10, one would cost 5. Going from 0 to 1 costs 5, 1 to 2 costs 10.
Correct.
Cool.
All right. Close all tabs.
And the cap is 5.
Skill wise?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Where's it?
Only in your primary attribute.
Okay.
All their other attributes, skill levels are maxed at 3. So if you guys have some XP that you want to spend, go ahead and do that now. I'm not gonna really like police that, or I figure you guys can, you guys are honest enough group that I don't really need to monitor what you guys are doing in terms of your character.
Ryan,
sheets.
did you say like strength, agility, wit, empathy? You can move those up, or you can't?
No, the attributes are kind of fixed. Skills, the accompanying skills, are what you can increase, and then you can add new talents to your character sheet. So, and the thing that I was saying about the max is that whatever your primary attribute is, whether it's strength or wits or whatever, that attribute, your skills can have a maximum of 5. Everything else is a max of 3.
Okay.
All right. And I've joined.
I'm getting stronger. I added a point to force. So
Sweet.
watch out. Macaulay's getting guns.
Macaulay's gonna take it to you.
Sorry. You guys are leveling up?
They're spending some XP, yeah.
Yeah, I moved my persuasion from 1 to 2 for 10 experience points. So.
Correct. Great. Cool.
Yeah.
I need to up my force. And I missed everything. I'm sorry. I've been running around.
It's okay. You just literally just landed a plane. I think we can give you some credit.
Leveling up our stuff. How many points or whatever does it take? I got 7 experience.
So for each rank in a skill that you want to increase, it's 5 XP times the level in that skill that you want to have. So if you want to if you go from 0 to 1, it's 5 XP. Going from 1 to 2 is 10, etc.
Okay. So let me go to 1. Got my experience to 2, and I can just save those other 2. Done.
Perfect.
Now I'm not so weak.
All right. I know, Matt, you just missed the recap, but I think that you kind of...
I remember.
You remember where we're at? Okay.
Yeah, I remember where we were.
Perfect. So at that point, like I said, Alex is the EMT. He makes a remark after you identify hemlock poisoning, and he says, "Hemlock poisoning?" Like weirdly loud. And
Leon does the swirl like gif or whatever.
Yeah. But Bunk notices out of the corner of his eye. Everybody, let's start off with an observation roll. Everybody give me an observation roll real quick.
Observation.
And this would just be a passive one, so no need to push it or anything like that. And no stress, I mean. Just a flat observation roll. I'm trying to see who else would have noticed this. Bunk already noticed it.
Yeah.
Macaulay, no.
3 1s? Dang. It's not gonna be a good night.
All right, so nobody else. Holy crap. Macaulay, you had ton of dice
I'm
to roll
busy
on that
holding.
too.
I'm holding pressure on the wound.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were taking care of the John, the kid that got impaled. So yeah, Bunk apparently is the only one that notices Leon's sort of reaction to hearing Alex repeat the diagnosis of hemlock poisoning. What would you like to do at this point?
Well, I noticed him kind of act a little squirrely, and I kind of turned towards him, and I'm like, "Yeah, hemlock. You know what that is?"
I'm sorry, who are you saying this to?
I'm turning to Leon, the dude that's acting all suspicious.
Leon. Okay, so are you wandering back outside? Or are you just yelling this from across the living room or the cabin outdoors? Because he's out front.
Yeah, okay. I forget where everybody is.
Yeah, so you guys are in. You're inside.
He was helping me with Stu, right?
Yeah, so he's out in front of the cabin. You're inside with the rest of the folks.
Okay. So how did I notice? How did I notice him react to it?
Well, I mean, he's
Stu
standing
right
in
to
front of the door. Like you can see him. You can see outside, and he's like in front of the cabin door that's open. So you're yelling out to him.
Yeah, I say, Leon, why don't you come in here for a second? Give that Stu a rest.
So he wanders in, and he's just like, I heard hemlock poisoning. Are we sure?
This has all the clear signs of hemlock poisoning. Would you have known where maybe she would have gotten a hold of that, or?
I mean, we're very careful. I mean, I know how to identify a handful of plants that might be edible, but I must admit, I'm not sure I would recognize hemlock just by identification. I wouldn't notice it just by looking at it. Does it look like something that she might have mistaken as something edible?
What have you guys been eating for the past couple of days?
Well, we had some crackers and just whatever we've been. We ran.
We're having this conversation out loud in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Like, so this is in front of everybody in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of purposely being loud because
Yeah.
he's kind of on trial here a little bit.
Okay.
And so I'm like, yeah, like what kind of stuff you guys been eating? Have you been doing the foraging, or has she been doing the foraging?
I mean, I've been picking up what we've, what are you implying something?
Well, hemlock usually in one tiny little dose isn't this bad, is what I'm implying. Someone would have had to keep ingesting it more than once, is my guess, to get this bad.
So you think that Georgia was just eating hemlock?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
Can she speak to
no.
us and let us know?
I don't know. Is she talking yet? And Alex just kind of looks at him.
Doesn't he's got a little girl with him too, right?
Yes, Rebecca, their daughter, which I keep retconning her age and getting it's lower and lower every time we play
Just
a session.
between 16 and 3.
Yeah, she's between the ages of toddler and not quite legal to drink. We'll say 16. I think that fits the narrative.
Before he can answer
Mm-hmm.
for them, I turn to her and I'm like, "Hey, what have you guys been eating the past couple of days?"
Who are you saying this to?
The daughter.
The daughter.
The girl that's with them. Yeah.
She says, squirrels, flowers, found some roots. I eat pine nuts sometimes. There's lots of pine cones.
Who gives you
Hard
the
to get
food?
out
Do
of.
you find it yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I know how to find food. I mean, you have to know how to find food these days.
Well, it looks like your mom ate something that made her really sick. Do you know where she would have got that?
No.
Okay. All right. Well,
What do you think it is?
I think it's hemlock. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
I don't like the way this girl's answering.
An angsty teen.
Yeah. You do know what hemlock is. Okay.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a flower. It's got little, little white, tiny little flowers. They kind of, like, almost looks like a Dr. Seuss kind of looking plant.
Did you ever
Grows in
see your
clumps.
mom eating some of these?
No, why would we eat hemlock? It's poisonous.
Well, that's what your mom. That's what the symptoms look like to me. That's exactly what hemlock poison is.
Leon just sort of interrupts and he's like, this is just so tragic. I mean, is there anything we can do? He looks at Alex and he's like, what can you do? Is there anything, do you have any medication that you can give to her? And Alex is just sort of like, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah. I don't think
Is
there
there?
is.
I'm just trying to make her comfortable.
So, hemlock poisoning is like fatal, or is it like?
Are you Shane
out of-
asking?
Yeah, Shane
Okay.
is asking, not Macaulay. Macaulay would know because he knows everything.
It's not necessarily fatal, but there's no antidote, so to speak. It's just like thoughts and prayers are the antidote for which is right up Leon's alley. So he
Got it right.
to that end, Leon does. He's like, I would like to know if anybody would like to join me in prayer in this moment for my wife who is suffering from this affliction, this beautiful flower that apparently has been causing her such distress. Who knew that something so pretty could be so fatal?
I'll pray with you. I also want to like motion at like Silas and be like pat him down, check his like pockets, see if he can like notice anything. Like maybe he's still got it carrying it on him.
Silas is keeping pressure on a.
Oh yeah,
a
that's
wound.
right.
On John's puncture wound.
Then I do it to Marcus.
Okay.
Marcus has been itching to rough this dude up. Get him.
Yeah.
So
So I hold his hands.
perfect.
To pray.
Love it. And Leon says, I don't know what denomination Leon is. He says, oh Lord, be with us now in this hour of turmoil. Help remove this toxin from my wife's body and bring her back to us. We pray. Amen. And so
Amen.
while he's praying, I'm assuming that Marcus is gonna like attempt to stealthily like pat him down and like, or anything any specifically you're trying to find? Just see if he's got any weapons or.
Seems like I'm trying to find hemlock in his pockets.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's
Give me
the,
a what would this be? This would be
agility and stealth.
yeah. Give me stealth roll.
And I've got 1 point of stress.
Actually, do mobility
All right.
for me. Do mobility for me, because that would be more like along the lines of sleight of hand analog.
Are you sure? Because stealth I'd much prefer.
Okay, yeah, roll stealth. I don't give a shit.
I mean, I'll roll with I'll roll. My mobility 0, so it's just a 5, and then the 1 stress. So here we go.
You get the
Hey.
6.
I think it's a 6.
Okay, so you pat this guy down, and you don't feel like he's got any weapons on him. You don't He's got no nothing suspicious. You kind of reach into his right side pocket, and you do find this little tiny little white flower. You aren't sure what this is, but you've been hearing talks of like poisonous plants, and at some point, I think Rebecca even said it's a flower. So you find this little tiny flower. Let's see if I can find a way to share this with you guys. Anyway, so you find this flower. What do you want to do with this?
I would like to quickly put it in my pocket, and when the time comes, be able to show it to, I guess, Bunk, since we don't have our healer in Jeremy. I'm assuming he would be the person I would give it to, but if he's not here, I guess try to find a way to motion to Bunk, be like,
slip it to Bunk?
Yeah, I'm gonna, like a roofie, just get in there.
Okay. Give me another stealth roll to pass it to Bunk.
So stealth this time, not mobility?
Yeah, sure. There's a picture in the chat.
Yes.
Ooh, 2.
One's leaning, but it was more 6 than a 5.
You got 2 successes. So yeah,
Oh, okay.
You slip this over to Bunk. And, you know, kind of just like, hey man, check this out. I got this. And all this is happening while Leon is giving that prayer, because Leon is just very committed to this endearing moment that he's sharing with Macaulay, that Macaulay has very graciously volunteered to do with Leon. So you have you now have this little itty bitty white flower, and Bunk for sure knows this is definitely a hemlock flower.
And it was in his pocket.
It was in his like outside coat pocket. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we gotta bust him out.
So after he gets done with the prayer, he just hugs Macaulay, and he's like, "Thank you. I know I can count on you."
You're welcome. Anytime, my friend, because I don't know what's going on yet, right? I don't know if they found anything.
No, you don't. I mean, give me an insight roll.
Okay. What's my...
Okay. So, I mean, you're aware that Bunk is not so subtly implying that this guy is poisoning his wife. You know, but like, you know, you're aware. You're aware of what Bunk is implying, and you're nonetheless engaging in prayer with him for his wife. I don't know if that was acting on your part, but you're kind of keen to what's going on.
Okay.
I kind of move in between in the room there. I don't know where I am, but I make a show of like kind of getting in between Leon and his bedridden wife that's over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of produce the flower, and I said, "Hey, Leon, do you know what this is?"
Oh, that's so generous. I mean, flowers aren't really my thing, but I appreciate the thought. Thank you for your generosity in this moment. I will treasure this.
Well, Leon, this is actually a present that you just gave us. This was in your right coat pocket.
Was it?
And while you were deep in prayer,
I had it all along.
Yeah. That's hemlock, dude.
Oh, well,
You had it on your person.
how could you be sure? Again, hemlock. What?
How-
What? I mean, we've been walking through the forest. All kinds of things have been. You probably found pine needles and dirt, all kinds of other things in my pocket.
No. Your wife is dying of hemlock poisoning, and you have hemlock in your pocket. You tell me what we should be thinking right now, Leon.
I think it's disgusting that you would imply such a terrible rumor. I am
I
insulted.
think it's disgusting that a
He's
man
like,
of
"You,
God would
sir."
poison his wife.
Are an agitator. You're an element of evil, and I want nothing to do with you. How dare you, sir? How dare you imply such things?
Interrupt him by just flat out punching him in the face.
Whoa.
I was about to hit him with the butt of my gun, so you beat me to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Give me a melee roll. Are you hitting him just like with your fist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fist.
And you
Old
get
man fist.
you get
Or die.
you get an extra base die for the critical success from the last roll.
Come on, dude. This is gonna be so awful if I whiff.
You're hitting a preacher.
God damn it.
So you go in
No,
for a
I'm
swing. You go in for a
I'm
swing.
pressing.
Okay, you're gonna push. You're gonna push it.
Stress.
Oh, you
Didn't
forgot
have
to roll
some
your
stress from
stress.
last time?
You have 2 stress. I'm pretty sure you have 2 stress.
I have 3 stress.
Oh yeah, perfect. Roll those 3 stress die for me.
1, 2, 3.
Oh no.
Oh, a 1.
So you are so angry. Like you're so completely convinced that A, this guy is lying to you, and B, this guy is poisoning his wife. Like every sense of your moral fabric is just completely violated to the extent that you can't even just manage your emotions at this point. So I need you to roll a d6 and add 3 to it.
3.
Oh no.
Oh, that's bad. God damn it.
Yeah. 9. So
The table doesn't go that high. You
right.
You are
drop
dead.
it.
So
Punch yourself in the face.
That's all it took.
you take this swing and you're so completely uncontrollably angry that you can barely contain yourself, and your
old
entire
man.
body starts to tremble. And so when you take this swing, it's awkward and uncomfortable, and Alex actually intercepts you and grabs your fist. Like this guy's a big dude, so when he sees you start throwing this punch, he gets in and intercepts it, and he's just like, "Hey man, I need you to check your shit." And you are gonna take from that panic roll, you get -2 modifier to all of your agility skills
Oh, great.
until
-2?
-2, -2 to all agility rolls until your stress is relieved.
Okay.
Hey, so what would happen if he was at like a 1 on one of his agilities? Would he he can't roll a negative?
Yeah,
Right.
you always have an opportunity to
0.
roll 1 dice, 1 die.
Okay.
So, you always have at least 1 chance for success.
Gotcha.
Did I take more? So I was at 3, and then I fucked up. Am I at 4 stress now?
No, you just
Okay.
you get the -2 modifier, and your attack didn't land, and Alex gets right in front of you. He's like, "Hey man, what is your fucking problem? I got a sick woman dying here. You're causing trouble. I don't need this kind of shit." And Sam and Sean both, they kind of like get a little. They can tell that tense, and starting to get tense. So Sean kind of grabs hold of his rifle that he's carrying. He kind of looks to Marcus. He's like, "What do we do, boss?"
I want to say, hey guys, the reason that he's acting this way, Alex, is because all signs point to his wife having hemlock poisoning, and we just found hemlock in his pocket. Like, if y'all didn't hear that, that's why this is heightened over here, because it seems very likely that this dude's trying to kill his wife.
So
I've been drinking too much whiskey, and I'm just like trembling in the corner. I can't even speak.
So Alex is kind of an older, but sort of like, you know, he's still kind of a physically imposing kind of guy. And he just kind of, he's like, all right, I don't want to hear any more shit. He points to Bunk. He's like, you just stay back. I don't need you causing any more drama. George is barely holding on as it is. Let's keep everything calm. He points at Mark. He's like, you keep your guys under control. I don't need any more issues here. Let's just try and get through the night if we can. And then Leon is like, he started the whole thing. I can't believe I am so insulted. This is unbelievable that I would be accused of such things.
She's not going to make it through the night if you let him near her.
And he just like grabs his backpack and he puts his arm around Rebecca. He's like, come on, Rebecca. Some people just aren't worth it. They don't know how to be gracious in these moments. Everybody's just a heathen. Everybody still craves violence. And then he just kind of like takes his daughter and they go into the corner and sit by themselves.
I want to go over to Bunk and I want to be like, dude, like, there's a lot of people here. We can't just go around accusing people of stuff without, I mean, that's one. We found a flower, so we already knew his wife has been eating it. Maybe he was saving, those were like her candies or something. I don't know. But he's a preacher that, I don't know. It seems like a red herring.
From across the room, Leon, you can hear Leon's like, see, he is a reasonable person.
I just don't want to go around just killing everybody. I've changed my ways of rubbing blood on my face. I'm trying to be a part of this group, and
one prayer, and he's redeemed.
He's a convert.
Held my hands up in resignation. I'm like, I just don't say anything. I just turn, walk away. I got my whiskey. I'm just taking pull after pull on my whiskey here.
Silas is holding the wound and saying, ain't no way I'm eating that stew. He was out there alone with that stew. Not happening, man.
That's true.
So the roly-poly guy that hasn't really said much yet, he says, what stew you talk of? And he kind of like
making some wolf stew out
like,
front.
I've had enough of this. Too much yelling. I'd like calm. He goes outside. I'm going to have some stew and enjoy what is the rest of this evening. He goes outside and he grabs, whatever he's got to kind of like go eat. And he just sticks the ladle in the bowl. He looks back at all of you guys and he just pours a ladle of stew into this little bowl that he's got and he just starts eating it. It's like, if I die, I die.
Hey, Marcus, that guy sounds Russian
and
speaks English. Make sure you get him to read that note before he drops dead from hemlock poisoning.
Hey, you pinky bastard. I want to talk to you.
Is what is
like Marcus does like, okay, so it's starting to seem like it's calming down here. I'm gonna make my way outside, not eat some of that stew, but I want to talk to Comrade, whatever his name is.
Okay. Yeah. So you make your way out and he's just eating stew. He doesn't seem to be in much of a conversational mood. But he just kind of looks and he just offers you some of the stew.
Like, I'm good. I had some swirl. But hey, I got this note that's written in Russian. Can you translate for me?
He looks at you he's like, you have note in Russian?
Yeah, found it.
Found it. He's like, I can read. He's like, give
Wait.
to me.
And when you read it, can you read it in English to me?
Sure. So you give him, are you giving it to him?
Yeah, I'll give him the note.
Excuse me. Okay, so you hand this to him, and he looks at it, and he starts reading it, and his eyes get real big. And you can tell he has not read the whole thing. He's maybe read, if anything, a couple of sentences. He may have just read, like, the intro, and he just puts it down. He folds it up, he puts it in his pocket, and says, "Where did you get these?"
Like I said, I just found it in between where we were and how we got here.
Please elaborate. How does one find a letter in Russian? And where did you find this letter?
It was just on the path on the ground. Maybe someone dropped it. That's why I was trying to get you to translate.
So, give me a persuasion roll.
Persuasion. Is that the attribute and the skill, or just the skill?
Attribute and skill, just like
Okay.
normal. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Oh man, that's a ton of threes or sixes. 3 6s.
3 6s. Oh shit. Okay. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I keep rolling the gear instead of the stress. Sorry.
Oh yes. Well, if that's the case, then how many? So you rolled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 base dice. Is that right?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then
the 4.
the black one.
2 persuasion.
the gear dice was supposed to be a stress roll.
It was supposed to be.
Okay, well, you got a 1 on that. So, I need you to roll a d6. Because this is, you panicked basically. If that gear dice was a substitute for your stress roll, you're panicking right now. So roll a d6 for me.
Okay.
3 plus
That's a
1 is
3.
4. Okay, so even though you can tell this guy is suddenly very interested in how you obtain this, and you're lying directly to his face about how you found it, and not mentioning the fact that you murdered a couple of people along trail, and that you basically looted this letter off of a few dead bodies you found at a ski lodge. You maintain your composure. And what we're going to see here is...
I prefer the term unalive.
So...
Oh, fuck, that can't be good.
This is his role to attempt to see through your lie, which initially he's just like,
Okay. You found this letter on the ground. Did you find anything else, perchance, just lying on the ground? Anything else that you found with this letter that you might want to tell me about?
Nope. Just the note, and there was some deer shit near it, but that's it.
So I'm just gonna maintain the same rolls.
It's like, all right. If you remember by any chance that you did happen to find something else with this letter, you come tell me. Because...
Yeah, do you want to maybe tell me what you read?
No. This is not for you.
Oh, well, then can I have my note back since you don't want to help me out here, friendo?
No, this is not your note. This is my note. Would you like some stew?
No. I'd like some paper with Russian writing on it, but...
It's like, well... We all want something.
And then he just kind of like goes back to eating his stew.
Bastard. Tommy, fuck. All right, well, I guess I'll go back inside and be like, well, that pinko bastard just took the note, and he is not happy that I had it.
So Alex, he's like, what, you have a, what note? Why did he take it from you? Why did you want to show it to him?
It was written in Russian. We just happened to find it. None of us speak Russian. He sounds like a dirty Russian, so I thought he might be able to tell me. But much like all those, pinko bastards, he just took it, and I now hate him.
So Alex, he's like, I don't know much about him specifically. I do know that he has been talking about coordinating some sort of smuggling operation to get him and his friends into Canada. So that's the only thing I know about him. This is a very interesting group. We've got a pastor and his family,
Murderous
3
pastor.
trail angels,
Always a pastor.
The kid that's bleeding out and his parents.
Pastor poison.
Oh, and the pastor. Sick
And a
wife.
note-stealing fuck.
The teenage daughter.
So Alex is like, I don't know about you guys, but I could do with some rest. I'm exhausted. George has taken up all of my energy. You guys look like you're beat up. This kid, he points at John. He's like, that kid definitely looks like he could use some rest. Does anybody want to take care of Georgia? Does anybody want to watch Georgia? I desperately need to sleep for a few hours. You guys are the first people that have shown up here in I don't know how long. I need somebody else to just watch Georgia for just a couple hours so I can just sleep.
I raised my hand, but by this time I'm visibly intoxicated. I'm like, I'll watch Georgia. I'm not letting that bastard anywhere near her.
Alex is like, is there anybody else?
I'll watch. I'm not gonna he's not gonna be happy that you're watching him anyways. His wife.
Don't you let that husband near her.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
So Alex and his friend Maya. Alex is just like, I have to lay down. He's gonna go find one of these. They're not even beds. They're more like, there's like cots, really. They're just, and most of them are looking like they're partially rotted through. He's just gonna go lay down on a cot and takes his hat off, covers his face, and he's like, just wake me if anything desperate happens. And he's gonna close his eyes and just start taking a little nappy poo.
Bunk also finds the furthest cot from everyone in the corner and just very Irish goodbye, unceremoniously just fades into the blackness of the background and tries to sleep in the corner while no one's looking.
Okay.
Just immediately goes to sleep.
Okay. Anybody else gonna try and get some rest, or?
Hey, Marcus, can you and your guys, or maybe your guys, take a watch or something? Like, I'm pretty exhausted from getting in that pit and shooting that wolf. It's been a long frickin' day. I need to get some shut-eye too, and I think this kid is in no immediate danger. I think the bleeding has pretty much stopped.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell that as much as the duct tape is gonna do, it has done. right? Like it's stopped the bleeding. I mean, he's still, it's an open wound, but at least it seems like it's, the bleeding is stopped. It's clotted up. And honestly, some rest might do John some good, to be honest. And Frank and forgot her name, Carol. Carol is still unconscious anyway from having passed out from the ordeal and the trauma of watching her son get yanked off some pikes. And Frank's just like, yeah, this is absurd. Let's just get some rest. Maybe with some rest, everybody's moods will be better tomorrow. We'll get some. I mean, we didn't get any food because there was suspicious sentiments about the stew. But like maybe just we all get some sleep. And he looks at Bunk. He's like, can we all sober up? Maybe tomorrow will be a better day.
I'm already out.
And I do want to ask the two trail angels, like, how do y'all go into sentry mode at night, taking turns, or
Yeah.
And I would also like to get some rest, but
Yeah. So Sean assures you, he's like, we got it. We'll take shifts. Sean and or Sam and I we'll split shifts over the night. You guys get some rest.
okay. And if y'all need anything from me, I don't mind helping. Just a couple hours of shut up might do me some good.
Okay. So, is anybody else going to stay up with Sean and Sam?
It seems like they've been doing this whole time without us.
Yeah.
So, and I trust these guys.
Well, I was gonna stay up and like stay
Watch
up
Georgia.
and watch Georgia, make
Okay.
sure nothing happens, and if she passes, I would like be there, I guess.
Okay.
Because she's not. That's what we're waiting for, right? We don't have any like.
I mean,
Or maybe she pulls through. If she wakes up, I'll
Yeah.
wake everybody up.
either she's going to die or she is going to pull through. You're not, I mean, basically, I don't know if Bunk explicitly stated it, but like you're all pretty sure you're all under the impression that there's no way to directly treat to reverse this hemlock poisoning. Either her body's going to fight it off and she's going to pull through, or she's going to die. One of the two.
All right. Macaulay knew that already. He's
Because he's a smart
a
guy.
genius. Yeah.
All right. So everybody else is going to sleep. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. I will roll for Sean and Sam during their watch. Perfect. And so Sean and Sam are out there on their first watch. They're outside, they're patrolling, they figure the inside is secure. And it's pretty uneventful for like the first hour or so. And then Leon gets up. Kind of quietly and calmly strolls over to Macaulay and says, "Do you think she'll pull through?"
Don't know. I don't know how much she's ingested or what her quality of life will be if she does pull through.
But like if you had to put odds on it, what would you say the odds are that she's gonna wake up?
What a weird fucking question.
I would say
You know,
that
it's all in God's hands anyway.
is true.
And you're noticing that, like, as he's talking to you, his whole frail and, like, timid personality has shifted, and he is presenting kind of cold. And he just kind of pats you on the shoulder, and he's like, "I know I can count on you."
I will do everything I can.
I know you will.
I'll keep an eye on her so you won't have to. So you can go back to sleep.
If she says anything, tell me immediately, because I want to know. Thank you.
As you should. You're her husband.
Mm-hmm. And then he just sort of walks away. He's like, I know I can count on you.
I give him the thumbs up.
And he goes and walks back away, kind of sits down, and he gets back in his cot and just sort of like gives you the nod where he's just like, he opens his backpack and he starts rummaging through some stuff. He's looking through some things. He's kind of looking up every once in a while to see if you're looking at him. And he pauses for a minute and he's like, and then he closes his backpack. He's like, I know I can count on you. And then he just lays back down and closes his eyes and goes back to sleep.
Okay. I kind of want to go through his backpack.
Okay. Are you gonna try and do this like stealthy?
So it's just me and one of the trail angels awake right now.
Yes. So Sean
as
is
I
out
know.
front. Everybody else is asleep. As far as you know, everybody else is asleep.
Yeah, I'll do it stealthily.
Okay. So, you know, Leon is laying down on his cot. He's, you know, his backpack is at the foot of his cot. Eyes closed. So if you want to go through his shit, give me stealth. Stealth seems more appropriate here. So give me a stealth roll.
I don't have
Give me
anything,
mobility.
so don't have that, but I'll give you the agility roll.
Yeah, give me the agility.
Definitely gonna wake him up.
Oh, nice.
No.
So, you start going through his shit, you know, and you're just kind of like, it's not like zipped. It's not one of those backpacks that has a zip. It's one of those backpacks that just sort of like rolls over on itself and then clips. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these. But it's very easy to do this quietly. He's sort of like unclasp the clip and slowly roll it open. And up on top, nothing out of the ordinary. There's a puffy jacket in there. There's, you know, a Bible. You keep digging a little bit further, and you find a block of what looks to you like clay. Or at least it feels like clay. You're still kind of just sort of like digging around and feeling there. Like, what is this block of clay? Do you want to try and take it out of the bag?
I would like to try and take it out of the bag.
Okay.
Colombian marching powder.
Give me a mobility roll.
C4, dude. Don't think it. Oh. Let's keep the luck rolling.
So you pull it out.
Wow.
Pull it out.
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
I'm so nervous.
So you pull this block out, and you can definitely tell. You know, it's got instructions and writing on it that lets you know this is a block of C4. Like this is an explosive.
Yoink.
Yeah, I'm gonna pocket that.
Okay. So as you start taking it out, you're trying to put it in your pocket. You hear Leon go, And
All right,
are you gonna look over?
Yeah.
So you look over, and Leon is staring right at you. Leon is staring right at you as you're trying to pilfer this block of C4. And you know, he's got his brim of his hat pushed up, and he just kind of looks at you, pushes the brim of his hat back down, closes his eyes, and says, "I know I can count on you."
All right. I'm gonna keep pocketing the C4.
Okay. Yeah, and you do. I mean, at this point, he sees you, and he watched you take it, and he watched you put it in your pocket. So, I mean, at this point, the only person in the entire building that knows you have this block of C4 is you and Leon.
And Leon.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, okay. I guess I'll just go back to Georgia right now and try and process what exactly just happened.
Okay. Yeah, and you do. And, George is there. And the first watch sort of passes uneventfully. Other than what just transpired. Sean comes in. He steps over to you and is like, "Did she say anything? She's still out?"
Yeah, nothing. She's still unresponsive. I didn't hear a peep from her.
He's like, "Okay." He goes over to Sam's bunk and just sort of like quietly like wakes him up. He's like, "It's your turn. You gotta fuck off." And so watch switches, right? Sean goes to sleep. Sam goes outside to keep watch, and Sean kind of tosses and turns for a few minutes. But eventually, you get the impression that he has also drifted off to sleep. A couple hours go by, and let's see. Okay. Georgia starts to stir. Sort of like this is the most movement you've seen her make in a while. If ever, actually. And she's actually opens her eyes. And she looks up at you, and she's very confused, a little bit frightened, right? You're a complete asshole strange, and you're sitting next to her while she's unconscious, and she wakes up to realize that there's this complete stranger sitting over her. And she starts to get like this panicked look on her face.
Like, calm down. You've ingested something that you probably shouldn't have.
She starts breathing really heavily. She's just like, you can't tell if it's panicked breathing or if it's like symptoms of the poisoning that sort of like introduced some maybe like what am I trying to say? An adrenaline reaction from her that's like her body is responding to the fact that she's getting closer to death. You don't know what's going on. All you know is that she starts breathing really heavily.
Okay. Okay, so
That sounds like every woman's reactions ever had when I told them to calm down. So.
And she starts looking around the room. She's no longer interested in you. She's looking around, gathering her surroundings, maybe trying to remember where she is. You don't even know if she's ever seen this place consciously. Meaning you don't know if she's ever been awake in this room, so she's kind of like scanning around. But she catches a glimpse of Leon in the far corner, and you can see her. She like reaches her hand and she starts pointing.
You want your husband?
And you can see her eyes get like really big, and she's just like, she starts breathing heavily again. She's like even faster. She's like almost like it's a panic-induced sensation at this point. You're pretty sure that she is anxiety-driven. And she tries to speak. She's like, and she's just grunting. She can barely make anything out. And she struggles, and then she finally says, "Child." And that's about all she can get out.
Child? Is she still awake?
Barely.
Okay.
But she's shaking. She's pointing at Leon. And she says, in this really like belabored voice, she says, "Child."
Okay. So I'm not going to wake Leon up, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
How many hours have passed at this point?
For the second watch, we'll say like 1.
Where is Rebecca? That's her kid, right?
What's that?
Rebecca's the kid?
Yeah.
I'll go wake Rebecca up,
Okay.
saying, like, Rebecca, your mom just woke up. The only word she said was child.
Okay.
So I'm guessing she wants you?
So Rebecca, her eyes get really big. She's like, she's awake?
Barely. She's like hyperventilating and can't speak, but she did say child.
And she's like, okay, let's go. I want to talk to her. So you guys run back. Or at least Rebecca does. Rebecca runs back. And when she gets back, Georgia is unconscious again. She's no longer awake. And Rebecca kind of looks at you and she's like, what are you talking about? She's unconscious.
I swear, I'm not making this up. She said child. So I came and woke you up. She pointed at your dad and then could barely speak.
She looks you dead in the eyes and says, "Does that mean anything to you?"
Let me think about it, you guys.
She kind of like shrugs her shoulders and like gives you one of these like, and then goes and she's like, if she wakes back up, I want to talk to my mom. And then she goes and lays down. She goes back to sleep. And you go. I mean, I'm assuming. Are you going back to kind of like check on Georgia, or what do you want to do at this moment?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go back and Rebecca is, what she said is true. Georgia's out. She apparently only had enough energy or strength to be able to be awake as long as she was, to say what she said. And she's out again. And yeah, so she's unconscious.
Okay, so this is like a one room like shack kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not like a big
so
elaborate.
Pretty close.
Yeah, I would say this is it's a big room, but it's just one big room. It's not an elaborate like cabin with a kitchen and a living room and a separate bathroom and bunkhouse and all. It's just like one big ass room that looks like it's big enough to sleep like 10 to 12 people. It is the most perfunctory shelter that you could conceive of. Basically just 4 walls, a roof, and a door.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go back to Georgia.
Okay.
And again, start thinking about everything that has transpired.
Okay. So as you go back to kind of watch over Georgia, the remainder of this watch sort of passes uneventfully for the next few hours. Sean starts to stir. The first birds of dawn start chirping, indicating that daylight is coming. And slowly the evening comes to an end. And everybody that took rest can remove whatever stress they had.
Oh, thank God.
And if you had any damage, like if you were missing any hit points, you could restore 1 hit point. And
just to be clear, health is a max of 6, right?
6 plus whatever your stamina score is.
Yeah.
All right. So, who is the first up?
I'm gonna wake up and take a little bit of like a snack or a ration or whatever I have in my bag and some water and
Okay.
take care of that for the morning.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. If everyone wants to give me a food and water roll, just kind of see where we're at with food and water. Nice. Okay. Oh! Bunk rolled the 1.
I go down 1.
You go down 1. Okay.
And food.
Was that for food?
That was for food.
Okay. And then
That was a D12. I go down to D10.
Okay.
And then water. I already suck on this one.
oh no. So you do get it does count as getting water for the day.
But I'm out of water.
Yeah, you're out. You got your
Water as
last
well.
drink, you shook your canteen, and the last few drops went into your mouth. But you are hydrated for the day.
Which sucks because I'm a little hungover after all that stress and swinging on dudes. Just a lot of old man excitement he's not used to.
So I'd like to go over to Macaulay and ask how the night went.
That's the first place I go, is because he's still over by Georgia, right?
Yeah, he's still sitting with Georgia.
Yeah, that's the first place I pick up and go over there too. And I'm like standing around listening to him.
Mac, like how'd it go last night?
Dude, it was not uneventful. Like,
Is this something we can talk about openly or we need to go somewhere?
we should probably go to the stew. Speaking of the stew, we should probably go see if that dude is alive.
That Russian's alive. I'm eating stew.
So you guys are gonna go outside to kind of talk about this in private?
Well, I'm looking around and looking for the commie. Where's the Russian dude?
Oh, he's out front. He's not inside. He didn't come inside when everybody else decided to sleep. He was still outside. And when you guys make your way out, Peter, which you don't know his name yet, but the Russian dude, he's out there. He's got like a big boulder wrapped up in his shirt, and he's like swinging it like a kettlebell. He's like outside doing kettlebell swings with this boulder wrapped up in his shirt. And he looks back at you and he's like,
Morning.
Hey,
I'm
good
like-
morning. Is there anywhere around here where you guys have been able to get clean water, or at least water that you could possibly boil?
It would be quite a hike. Maybe a day.
Jeez.
I mean,
I was hoping for something
not
closer.
24 hours, but enough that if we went to look for water, we would have to spend the night wherever we stay.
Understood. Thanks, brother.
Hey, Rooski, how was that stew? Huh? It hit the spot?
Little bit of heartburn, but yes.
Hey, Wolf will do that. That is classic Bunk Wolf stew.
He kind of cocks his eye. He's like,
I ate wolf.
Well, yeah, what the hell?
Tastes
It's
like
fine.
bear.
It all eats the same.
He's like,
he just kind of shrugs his shoulders.
all right, I ate wolf.
I crowd around and get myself a big ass bowl of that stew. And I just start fucking chowing down.
Okay. I mean, it's kind of cold at this point because like the fire went out and wasn't keeping it hot, so it's more of like a
lukewarm,
tepid. You know, it's sort of like sad, but because it's
Viscous
spent,
now.
you know, it's a little older. The flavors have been able to commingle a little bit more, so you know, flavors have sort of combined, and it's pretty outstanding actually.
When it sits for a long time, the flavor is melt together. It's even better. It's even better the next day.
All right.
I'm telling everybody.
So this guy who he's just like,
I assume the others are awake.
yes.
I don't know.
it's like,
Then I will leave you to the stew.
and he goes inside.
Okay, guys. So, first off, Leon woke up in the middle of the night. And he was being his demeanor changed. He wasn't all like tepid or whatever. He was very confident, little intimidating. But then he went back to sleep. And I rummaged through his bag, stole some C4. I'm not going to get it out yet. I don't want anyone to see what we got.
Fuck.
C4? What the hell is this guy got C4 for?
And then his wife woke up for a little bit, was breathing hard, like freaking out, couldn't say anything, pointed towards his direction, and was like, and then she said, child. So I went and woke up her daughter, and when we went back to go check on her, she was passed out again. So I don't know if I was like seeing stuff.
You left her alone?
Yeah, for like 5 seconds.
So she was talking when you left, and then you came back and she wasn't talking. Did you see where Leon was?
Yeah, he was right there the entire time. It was it's one big open room, remember? Like I could see everybody.
Okay, all right. So there was no chance that Leon, in the time that you went and got the daughter, could have gone over there and knocked her ass out or given her more poison or something.
I don't know if you know how observant I am, but if I were to put a number on it or how many dice I would roll, it'd be about 8.
All right. Point taken.
So,
But yeah.
do you think she wanted to talk to the kid, or she's implicating that they're both doing something to her? Like, did you get a feel for how she was acting? Was it different than before, like you said with Leon?
No, that's why I woke the kid up, because then I was like, I'll see how this reaction goes to see what's up. But she was passed out, so I didn't get to really feel it out. I would like to stick around and see what transpires. I've just got a feeling.
I got that same feeling. What the hell's a pastor needed C4 for?
I got a feeling these guys are going to try and kill us while we sleep. Let's get the fuck out of here.
I agree, but I feel bad.
That's why we can't let them keep watch.
Yeah.
And
I said we figured out.
I'm pretty sure I got everything dangerous out of his bag, so he doesn't have anything else. Got his flour. Got his explosives. Check what the kid has.
Did you get a detonator?
I did not get a
With the
detonator.
C4?
I
did
don't
not.
think I'd put that in my pocket.
Well,
So,
I don't know where else to put it, so I'm just gonna keep it right here and be very careful.
As you
I'm gonna
guys
stay away from this stew.
As you guys are discussing the logistics of this C4 and trying to figure out what you're going to do next, from inside, you hear a woman scream, and then you hear a man yell, "Where is he?" And we're going to take a break because I need to go to the bathroom and get another beer. So we'll take 5 and we'll come right back.
All right.
Where is he?
Yep. And that was what you guys heard. You heard a woman scream, and then you heard a man yell, "Where is he?" So
Right. I got an idea
that's where we
what's
left
about
off
to
before the break. What do you guys want to do?
We'll go in there and see.
Hold on. I turn to Marcus and Silas and I say, "Get your shit. Put one in the chamber and get it ready. I don't know what we're about to walk into."
I got a gun too.
Oh, you also get one in the chamber. Get it ready.
So you guys are going in.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I set my stew down, and I took my 9 back from that dude. Right.
You're what?
My 9mm. I also had a 9mm.
The empty one.
We gave to the father, yeah.
I took the bullets out of that 9mm and I gave it to that dude, and he was like, "Wee, wee, wee, wee."
Oh,
And he,
Frank?
didn't know what
Yeah, Frank still
Yeah,
has
I
the
took-
gun. You have the bullets, but
Oh.
Frank's got the
Oh,
gun.
he still has it. Okay,
Yep.
never mind. All right.
Anyway, who? Tell me what the order is. Who's going in first?
Maybe Marcus would go in first since he's got 2 allies in there.
Okay.
I'll walk behind Marcus, and I'm holding my fire poker inconspicuously somewhere that I think can't be seen.
Okay.
Bunk last.
Bunk's last. Okay. So
Bunk trails behind everyone else.
There's a bush that
In the
Bunk
bushes.
stuck behind.
Bunk has an affinity for hiding in the
Throws his
bushes.
stew and then drifts away.
So, as soon as Marcus opens the door, he sees there's a big commotion. The Carol is she's on her hands and knees next to John, and she is sobbing. Sean is holding Frank back, and Frank is just screaming, "I'm gonna fucking kill him!" And that's what Marcus sees as soon as he walks in.
So Frank, the dad,
Frank the dad is being held back by Sean, and he's just Frank is completely enraged. Carol is on the ground sobbing over John, and Sean is holding Frank back, who is completely enraged.
I'm gonna ask Sam, the other guy, like, what's going on?
Sam's just like, I don't know what you do. I woke up, all of a sudden I heard Carol screamed, and then I just looked over, and next thing I know, Frank is furious, and Sean is trying to hold him back.
Can we tell who Frank is kind of looking at?
Frank isn't looking at anybody yet. However, have the rest of you guys entered into the cabin yet? Okay.
Yeah.
yes.
So as soon as Silas walks in the door, Frank locks eyes on Silas and points at him and says, "That one, that motherfucker right there. I'm gonna kill him." And Frank is like, he's pushing hard to get past Sean to try and get to him. And
What do you want with me, Frank?
Sean turns to you, and he's like, "The boy died last night." And Frank points at you and is like, "You were supposed to be watching him. You let him die."
I didn't let anyone die. He needed to rest, and so did I. I pulled him out of that pit. We could have left you guys there.
So Frank, he's just incoherently screaming at you. He is, admittedly, all of what you're saying makes sense from a rational perspective. But this is an irrational father who just lost his son, and he is threatening you with everything. And
bring it, motherfucker.
So,
and he brings it.
You say what you say, and it enrages him. Like, you basically are just like, "What? You needed some sleep," and this sets Frank off in a way that surprises not only you but Sean, because Frank comes in with an elbow, cracks Sean straight in the face, and he manages to get his pistol, and he draws down straight on you. And I need you guys to roll initiative.
Oh shit.
Woo.
Which one's initiative again?
So roll a d10 and add your agility score to it. $12. God, you guys are fucking high.
Here we go, Bunk.
2 seconds. I gotta write these down. Uh, 12. Are these rolls with your guys's? Yeah, +5. So I got 12. Marcus. 10 for Silas. 13 for Bunk.
Frank's about to get fucked up.
9 for Matt.
He woke up and chose death.
Finally.
So, I got to roll for this dude. Let's see. Nine. Okay.
That ain't good for him.
So that's going to bring us. So Bunk, you're going to have the first opportunity. You see Frank grab Sean's gun. Sean gets kind of like knocked back. He just took an elbow to the jaw, so he's knocked back a second. And Frank, you see him grab the gun, and you see that he's getting ready to skin it. So you have just enough time to act before he does. So you go first.
Remember, he said he's terrible with guns, so you could de-escalate this.
My, I'm not trying to punch it. I'm trying to grab at the gun and like disarm.
Okay.
I'm trying remember 1,000,000 years ago, but I'm former military, and
So-
I'm trying to do fucking disarming.
Sure. I would say that this is still like a melee combat action. So give me a melee roll.
That sucks. But that's what he would do. He wouldn't have time to have his fucking bat
dig it.
ready. That sucks. I think it's only, yeah. Just double checking. Thought I might have had more die.
So you make a very valiant, very brave attempt to dive in and grab this weapon away from Frank. He manages to avoid your attack. Marcus, you're up next.
I guess I'm not gonna be able to take the gun out of his hand. So can I aim my gun at his foot and try to shoot him in the foot to kind of disarm him?
If you want to make like a called shot, like a specific called shot, I'm going to say you're going to need at least 2 successes, but yes. So give me a marksmanship roll. and you're going to need 2 successes. Otherwise, if you succeed, you're going to hit him, but it won't be in his foot.
Right in his heart.
Yeah, center mass. But blap.
Right between the eyes.
So that's the attribute and the skill for marksmanship.
Correct. So that would be agility and
8.
marksmanship. Yep, sounds. Oh,
160. Kill him. 260. Oh,
you got 1.
you killed.
But you have your gear bonus from your weapon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's 1.
One more die. Roll that 6, motherfucker.
Now, do you want to push it? Do you want?
I have to re-roll all of them?
You would re-roll all of your base die minus 1. So instead of 8, you would roll 7, and your gear die, and a stress die. Because pushing your roll gives you a point of stress.
So 7.
7 base, 1 gear, and 1 stress. You got it. You got the 6. Nice. So yes, you do. You shoot Marcus in the foot. What's the base? Roll d6 for damage.
Frank, not Marcus, right?
Marcus is rolling for damage.
Right.
Is that just one of the base?
So roll 1d6 and then add whatever your damage bonus is to it.
Damage is 2.
Did Marcus pop Frank?
Marcus popped Frank. Managed to shoot him in the leg or the foot.
Damn it.
Which one did you roll first?
Oh, I rolled all 3 of them. I'm sorry. I thought you said
No, just 1
plus the damage.
So instead of rolling 3 dice, it's just roll 1d6 and then add, I guess, 2 to it. So 3 damage.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
No, that's okay. It's confusing because the +3 sometimes means extra dice. So anyway, you hit Frank in the foot. Frank's foot, just like blood just pops out of, like he's wearing these boots, and you can just see like little bits of flesh and blood pop out of the toe box of his leather boot, and Frank immediately falls down to one knee, but he's still like he's determined to like turn this pistol on Silas, which to that end is Silas's turn.
Let's see.
This is all happening in like less than a second. Like this whole round of shit is all happening. If you can imagine, like everybody's in a standoff. This is all just happening. Boom, 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 boom. Everybody's just reacting.
This is dick.
So I'm going to just take a swing. I guess I would aim for the arm that has the gun. So
Okay.
with my fire poker.
Okay,
And,
same deal. If you want to make a called shot where you want to specifically hit if you want to hit a specific part of his body, you're going to need at least 2 successes.
So this is strength plus melee plus the fire poker, which is a 2.
Jesus. Okay, yeah. Oh, jeez.
Well,
You got
hit him
1.
anyway.
You hit him. Since this happened, I wanted to explain what happened. So when you roll 1s on your gear with the gear dice, it doesn't matter as long as you don't push. But if you push your roll, you see how it says damage in the chat? Each 1 that you roll on your gear dice for a pushed roll decreases the bonus that you get from that piece of gear. If it drops to 0, that piece of gear is broken.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you can't use it. Anyway, but you didn't do that. You didn't push your roll. So you get the 1.
Nope, I'm just gonna smack him.
Roll me a d6 and then add whatever the damage bonus is for that fire poker. Two.
That's a total of 3.
3. Okay, so you're swinging for the pistol arm, But because everything's so chaotic and everything's moving so fast, you miss and you smack him square in the sky to the skull. 64. Oh, Christ. So, as the fire poker comes in, you distinctly see and hear the sound of Frank's skull just go, and Frank immediately just falls down. Like, his eyes roll up in the back of his head. He falls down on his side. Gun falls out of his hands, and Sean and Sam are just sort of, and even Alex from the other side of the room, they're all just like, what the fuck? And so Sean still has, like, you know, an automatic rifle. He gets ready to fucking draw down on you with his rifle. Sean and Sam both. They're just like, what the fuck is happening? They've been with these guys.
They're drawing down on me?
They're pulling their weapons.
I want to say, hang on, guys. He was about to shoot him. It was self-defense.
So, Marcus, since you are sort of like an influential person with Sean and Sam, give me a persuasion roll with a +2. So 2 additional dice. Give me a persuasion roll with +2 because I would say that you're so persuasion plus, I think empathy is the skill that's associated, or the attribute that's associated with persuasion.
So that's a 4 and a 2 +2, so 8.
8. Roll me 8 base dice.
And I've got the 1 point of stress now.
Yeah, so roll that stress dice too.
Two.
Oh, come on, 1. 5. Okay. So you get a 6. So you say what you say. You get them. You're trying to intervene. And they pause. Like, they're not ready to. They got weapons drawn, and they're just like, what the fuck, you know. But they did manage to stop short of retaliating.
Hey, like, Frank accused me of murdering his son just because I walked away and went to sleep last night. I stopped the bleeding and he was just going crazy, and I was trying to talk him down and tell him it wasn't my fault. He was impaled and losing a lot of blood, but he hit Sam and took his pistol and drew on me.
So, let's have Silas do a persuasion roll as well. I would say, considering the scenario, you also get a +2.
2 dice?
Yeah, 2 base die, 2 additional base dice. Two 6. Okay. So, I mean, all of this happened quickly. This all happened in a matter of seconds, right? And so, as much as Sean and Sam are kind of responding to the fact that, like, first of all, gunshots have been fired, a guy just got his skull caved in, everything's heated, tensions are high. They manage to kind of, like, the moment finally catches up with them, and they're like, okay, I get it. And Leon kind of casually gets up. He kind of walks into the situation. He's like, this is such a tragedy. It's hard to find moments of calm in an instant like this, but we must remember that everything is always God's will. And he goes next to the mother and just tries to console her. And she's like, I know, it's going to be okay. And he starts saying a little prayer over John. He's not Catholic, but so he's not doing like last rites or anything, but he's just, saying a little prayer for John. And the mother is is just completely inconsolable. But Frank is put down. Sean and Sam are kind of they're still a little on edge. And Leon is being Leon. But Alex just kind of gets up and he's like,
has anybody checked on Georgia?
No.
He's like, can somebody please check on Georgia? I can't do this anymore. Can somebody just please check on Georgia?
I'll run over there real quick.
okay. So you run over there and Rebecca joins you. She's like right next to your side. She's like, is she going to be okay?
Well, she's doing better than Frank over there, I think.
So yeah, are you going to check her vitals? What do you want to do?
Yeah, let me check her pulse.
Okay.
See if her breathing is shallow or whatever.
Yeah, sure. Give me a survival roll.
Mm-hmm.
Or, just give me whatever wits roll you think makes sense for this scenario.
Observation.
Perfect. Oh yeah. Okay. So you kind of check out Georgia, and it is clear that she's lost color. Check her pulse. There's no pulse. She's, I don't want to say she's cold to the touch, but her skin is a little clammier than it was, considering she was suffering from hemlock poisoning. And you are pretty sure, in fact, you're absolutely sure that during the course of the evening, Georgia has died.
Well, Rebecca, I think your mother might have passed in the night. I'm sorry, I'm not very tactful at this.
She looks at you and she's just sort of like, you've said all you need to say. And she's just sort of like, it's what God needed. It was God's will. And so Rebecca walks over to Leon, who is, still in the middle of giving his little eulogy that he's sharing with Carol. And Rebecca whispers something in Leon's ear. Can't really hear it, but just sort of like. And Leon just kind of like lifts his head up, takes a big sigh in through his nose, and he's just sort of like, blessed be.
So everybody now is gathered around John or whatever?
Well, Rebecca and Leon are, Rebecca and Leon and Carol are surrounded by John. Leon has just been informed that his wife died. He gives a very, sort of serene, but almost sort of like accepting acknowledgement of his wife's passing. And he gets up and he walks over to Georgia and he kind of strokes her on the head. And he's just sort of like, you'll be missed.
So where'd the Russian and Alex go?
Oh, the Russian dude, he's just sort of like, he's hanging out in the cabin. He's just sort of watching, just sort of observing, kind of, I don't want to say he's in shock, but he's just sort of taking it all in. Alex, you get the impression that Alex and Maya both are just exasperated beyond belief. they've, especially Alex. Alex has been watching Georgia for who knows how long, at least a couple of days, but a lot of effort and a lot of energy into caring for and watching over Georgia. So he's just sort of like, he's kind of at an emotional breaking point. Not that he's sad that she's dead, but just sort of like, is this shit ever going to get any better? Just sort of exasperated that, like, he kind of knew that it was going to happen. Like, this was an inevitability, but just like the events surrounding it, it's almost like you get the impression that he kind of wished that her passing could have been less chaotic. That it could have just been, they woke up one day, everybody had some coffee, it was a calm morning, the birds tweeted, and we discovered that she died. Instead, it's this morning where another person gets bludgeoned to death, and there's gunfire, and that kind of thing. He's just like, what the fuck?
Okay. So George is dead.
Yes.
John's dead.
Yes.
Is Frank dead?
Frank
or
is
just
dead.
like, okay.
Silas crushed this fucker's skull with a blowpoke, as far as I can know.
All right.
I guess it wouldn't have been a blowpoke. That's the movie about the stairs. This was like a legit fireplace poker.
I'm sorry for your loss for whatever it's worth. I'll help bury them if that's what you want.
Who are you saying that to? Just the room in general?
How about Leon and Carol, the widows, as it were?
Yeah, I haven't told anybody about Georgia yet. I do want to run
I
over
guess
to
just Carol then.
Okay.
I'll run over to Bunk and tell him that Georgia passed in the night.
I am immediately laser eyes at Leon.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I say, I don't say anything.
No? Okay.
I'm furious.
Mhm.
I'm furious.
And so
I just laser eyes and fucking walk off to the other side of the room.
to
Still in the-
Leon,
in the-
like, are you like
Yeah.
locking eyes with him in a way that's sort of intentional, in a way that you're communicating to him with your look?
Yes.
Okay. So
I know it was fucking you.
So Leon catches your glance, and he just looks at you, and he's like, "It was God's will." God works in mysterious ways.
Gonna walk off in the other room.
So, this Russian guy, whose name you still don't know because it hasn't been spoken, he walks over to Macaulay, and he's just sort of like,
You are a strange lot. You tend to strangers. You mourn their losses. I don't understand. In this world, in this time, you are all alive. What is to mourn? Death happens every day. It is a thing we should be accustomed to. And yet here you are, mourning your own self-pity.
That is a very profound statement. I used to be a philosophy major, and that is quite a way to think of the world today. Survival is a struggle.
It's the only thing that matters anymore. If we want to have hope for anything, it is that we see tomorrow. And I have this hope.
Does Marcus hear him say this?
give me an observation roll. He's kind of talking to Macaulay. Yes. You hear with stunning clarity, despite the fact that he's trying to be somewhat discreet in his conversation with Macaulay. You hear every word that this guy says to Macaulay. And so this mysterious foreigner continues. He's like,
Your friend with the letter. You know of this letter?
Yeah. The Russian letter.
Yes. The only letter of significance that I would be speaking of.
Yeah. We found that letter.
Yes, you found it. Where did you find it? How did you find it?
And I don't know what he said, so
Can I come over since I heard him saying that death is an inevitability?
yeah, you can.
Kind of
Yes,
move
you
me
can.
over?
Yeah.
HD.
Yeah, you can. You can. Do you want to like try to interject?
I do,
Okay.
and I want to say, comrade, I wasn't completely honest with you last night, but hearing what you just said, I think I should tell you that when we found the note was on a person that was deceased.
And he hears you explaining this, and he takes sort of like a long draw in through his nose. He's just sort of like, and then he exhales really like he's doing some sort of breath work exercise.
Tell me more. You say you found them. They were dead.
Yes. On our travels from where we were to here, we came across a lodge a ways back. And when we came upon that lodge, it was like a massacre had happened.
They were murdered.
He had nothing to do with it. And just the note was laying next to one of the bodies.
So you're describing this, and he's like,
I asked you before. I will ask you again. Did you find anything else with this letter?
And I apologize for before because it was hard to explain, but it was just the letter. We felt sorry for these people that we came across, but we were also still trying to find my comrades, Sean and Sam. So in haste, we took the letter, but that was it.
give me a persuasion roll.
Okay. And this time, because I'm going to remember that I'm an empath, I'm going to...
Do you forget?
I did, but I can push any empathy twice.
Yes.
And the stress is only on the final roll.
Correct.
So that's a persuasion and empathy, so that's 6.
But you do have 1 point of stress already, though.
Yes.
From trying to shoot it with the gun.
Yeah. So let's just see if this first roll works.
So you got 1 6. Do you want to try for more successes? You don't have to. I mean, like at this point, you have 1 success, but our boy here is going to try and roll to see if you're lying to him. Do you want to try and push this to gain more successes?
And so that would just be another point of stress.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
And the stress effect only apply on the final roll.
Right.
Correct.
So yeah, so roll it again. If you don't get any successes, you can roll it again. But so in other words, if you get if you push your roll for the first time and you get a 1 on your stress, you can push it again. And if you don't get a panic on your second push, then it doesn't count. Does that make sense? You can push this roll twice. You don't accumulate successes as you go.
The one's just on the last roll.
Yeah, so you can push it once, and if you don't get the number of successes that you want, you can push it a second time, but the roll that you get at the end is the final result. It's basically giving you two chances to try and push this roll to get the result you want.
And if I don't get it on the first, would that be a point of stress for the first roll and then a second point of stress for the second one?
No, that's what I'm saying, is that you only take an additional point of stress at the end of your decision. Okay. You will end up with an additional point of stress, but it's only going to be a net of 1.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do it because these Russians are fucking sneaky.
I mean...
yes.
Oh, fuck, you got 2 more. Okay. So he is going to, like, use his insight. And he is not as empathetic as you are. Oh!
God damn it.
Oh, wait, but you got a total of 3, didn't you?
Yes.
Total of 3. Okay. So he looks at you. He puts his arm around your... he kind of, like, gets in close. Puts an arm around, like, the back of your head, right? He pulls you in, puts his forehead to your forehead. And he says... Okay. But if you remember anything, you let me know.
I say Nostrovia.
Nostrovia. Okay. He's kind of like, this is good. This is good. You tell me this.
Comrade, what's your name?
My name is Peter. And I feel like we can be friends.
Do you share
Welcome, Peter.
my optimism? My optimism. Do you share? It's like, when time is right, I will tell you more. But right now, I feel there are more pressing urgencies.
Yeah, there's a bunch of dead bodies in there.
Yeah. So yeah, there are 1, 2, 3 dead bodies. Sean and Sam are just like, I know it sounds gross, but we gotta do something with this. I can't imagine that this is the first dead body that anybody in this group has seen. We gotta do something. We gotta bury him. We gotta burn him. Personally, I would rather bury him. Burning him seems like a good way to draw attention to ourselves. Can somebody...
Yeah, we should... I feel like we should all... like... have a funeral for at least these 3 people. I mean, we got a preacher that could say some things.
So Leon chirps up. He's like, I would love to say a few words. I would be more than happy to say a few words.
And we have 3 holes to dig.
3. Yeah, 3. You got 3 dead bodies.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not very strong, but I'll help dig a hole.
Alex raises his hand. He's like, I'll dig a hole for Georgia. I'll take that one.
Who's the smallest? I can dig that one.
I think I own Frank, so I'm gonna...
I would say John of the 3. John would be no, Georgia would be the smallest, but Alex has already offered to dig that grave. So we need one. We need a grave for Georgia. We need a grave for John and for Frank.
I'm on the Frank grave.
I'll do John.
So I gotta make a check here real quick. Oh shit. Okay. All right. Somebody actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Oh no. Okay. So yes, go ahead and describe as you guys are going.
All right, so
We're digging
I'm
holes.
just dragging the body out, sort of dragging by the shoulders, arms locked underneath the armpits, and finding a spot suitably away from the cabin out back, and just starting to dig. And if Mac is near enough to me where I can say it quietly, I would suggest that he stealthily drops the C4 into the hole.
Drop the C4 in the hole?
Bunk, by the way, when you guys are doing this, says, I'm going to go find water. And Bunk
That's a day
wanders
away.
off.
Bunk
fucking wanders off into the fucking woods. You just see him wander off into the woods.
Okay.
Go get warm.
Okay. We'll get to that in a second. So as you guys start doing your preparations, somebody, Alex very respectfully picks Georgia up, which is weird because you would think that Leon would want to do this, but Leon is just sort of completely content to allow Alex to pick up his wife and take her to what will eventually be her grave, that is being dug by Alex. Sean kind of with tremendously less amount of respect and dignity just grabs Frank by his ankles and just starts dragging him out the front door. It's almost like Sean is just like I've done this 1,000 times. I don't like it's a dead body. I don't fucking give a shit anymore. And then Sam goes to get John. And as Sam kind of approaches, like he takes his cue from Sean. And Carol sees Sam grab John by the boots, or by the feet at least, starts dragging him out, and Carol just can't fucking take it anymore. She is overcome with emotion. The gun that Frank dropped when he was killed, she makes a move for the gun. Let's see. Everybody give me an observation roll. I want to see who would notice this. A Bunk, you're off in the woods, so you don't get to roll, but I need everybody else to give me an observation roll.
Is that with points of stress?
At this point, if you have stress, you always roll with it unless it is unless I tell you not to. There's one. Nice. Okay. Effectively, all of you see this because Carol just starts to she loses it, and she lets out this wail, and she starts running towards the gun. She grabs it. I'm gonna give all of you an opportunity to take one action before Carol does what Carol is going to do. Like one reaction.
She has the gun.
Carol, let me see. No, Carol does not have the gun yet. She is making her way. She lets out this enormous wail, and you can tell that she is going for this gun. You can tell that she is.
Marcus wants to yell at Carol and say, "Carol, wait!" And I want to attempt to scoop up John's body and say, he's gone. We need to bury him.
Okay. Give me a persuasion roll, and I'm going to tell you right now, you need a minimum of, considering her state, you're going to need a minimum of 3 successes.
Okay, and I'll roll physical.
She is
4 6.
She is beyond consolation. She is having a psychotic break, basically. So you're going to need at least 3 successes. You're not dealing with a rational person right now.
I can push
you
twice.
Can push twice.
Yeah. Empathy.
Her son died, and then her husband just got fucking fire pokered. She is now alone in a post-apocalyptic world and does not really want to live anymore.
I want to kick her ankle and try and trip her.
All right, so
As the guy that came in wanting to murder everybody, I'm just trying to bring a little bit
you're
of
diffusing a lot of situations tonight, considering
to,
that you were hoping for murder.
Yeah. 2 of the 3 deaths were just natural bogus.
And Bunk just wandered off.
All right, you got 2.
God damn it.
You got 2. Do you want to push it? I mean, dude,
Yeah,
you already
let's
have 2
push
points
it.
of strength. I love it. All right. You got 2, so you don't roll the dice that were successes. So you're gonna roll 6 base dice, or no, I'm sorry, 4 base dice
4.
and 3 stress.
Fuck it, it's just a game, right? Hitty balls.
Okay, I mean, you didn't get the success. You didn't get the 3rd success. You can push it a 2nd time.
Yeah, let's do it. 4 and 3 again?
Correct. Yes. Ooh, God, you got it. So the thing I love about this mechanic is that it gives you sort of like this false sense of hope, because the more times you roll those stress dice, the more opportunity you have to panic. But in this case, it worked.
Meanwhile, he's just like shaking about to fucking pop.
So you, you do. You go in and you scoop up John from Sam, who is just like, just like carelessly dragging him out by his legs like he's a side of beef, and you pick him up and you sort of like hold him like he's a real person. And Carol, instead of grabbing the gun, she makes a last dive. And instead of grabbing the gun, she just falls flat on her face and just starts sobbing, just wailing inconsolably. She does not, whatever it is you were convinced she was going to do, she lets it go and just lays down on her. She's laying face down and just sobbing, just wailing with just rage, a combination of, rage and grief and just consternation. She's completely, all of the emotions that just would cause a person to just separate from reality.
Holding John, can I notion that Alex's wife or a significant other, can you kind of console her while we do this?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So Alex, I think, is her name. She hasn't really done much.
Maya.
Yes. I'm sorry, Maya.
Wife. Yeah, Maya. Yeah.
So Maya, she's like, sure. And Maya comes in, and she is surprisingly good with people. Says the most eloquently perfect thing in the moment. And while it doesn't really stop Carol from having her breakdown, you can tell that it certainly doesn't make anything worse. And
Can I tell you what Bunk is doing in parallel?
yes, let's get to that. Yeah, because we played this scenario out, so let's go back to Bunk. Bunk is out in the woods. He's looking for water.
Bunk is not really looking for water. Bunk is looking for hemlock.
Oh, I love this. Okay. Give me a survival roll, which I know Bunk has like 22 dice to roll for this. Oh my God, that's so many ones. What the fuck, dude?
Push it. You have to push this.
I'm pushing that motherfucker.
Wait.
But you got to
can't
take
push the
4
ones.
off of that dice. You got 4
Yeah.
ones, dude. So you're only rolling 4 dice this time and a stress.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do it.
All right.
What?
My God. That's the
How
most
is that
disappointing
possible?
thing.
Ow.
It's the most disappointing thing I've ever seen.
You know what it
Go to-
is?
go to
It's
physical
all that
dice.
luck for Mordenkainen coming back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah. Honestly. Yeah,
That's a reference that doesn't land for anybody but 3 of us. So just a quick departure. I set up a game where they could like flip a coin to win magic items in this other campaign that we're running, and Matt just was like railing heads left and right. We walked away with like
You
an
won, like,
absurd number of magic items.
10 magic items.
I set it up hoping that he would have to lose magic items because that was the back end of the bet. Is if you get heads, you win magic items. If you get tails, you lose them. But like Matt was just, he walked away with everything. Anyway, you find.
All right. So how many stress do I have at this point?
So you would have gained 1 more stress from pushing that roll.
You didn't roll any stress either.
Oh yeah, you didn't roll any stress. So you have to roll it. You get. Did you have a point of stress prior to this? I don't think you did.
I didn't have any stress.
Okay,
yet.
but you have at least 1. So roll 1.
Now I do.
Get that 6.
Get a 6.
He gets a 4. Fuck. God damn, I cannot believe that.
Okay. So if I
Ridiculous.
push again, if I were to push again, it'd be, what's that, like 1 die?
Well, you mean unless you have a specific talent that would allow you to push a roll a second time, you're just out in the woods looking for hemlock. So what we'll say is that in this immediate moment, you don't find any hemlock, but what we'll say is that Bunk is committed to this idea of finding hemlock.
I'm by myself. I don't find it in this area, so I keep looking in another area. I'm gonna find.
All right. So we'll come back to that. Okay. By the way, I love this. But we'll go back to the burial for a second. Who is digging whose graves? I know that Alex is digging George's grave. Silas has decided that he is responsible for Frank's grave. Who is digging John's grave?
I was digging John's grave, but I was gonna wait because I needed to know how big John was because I didn't want to dig anything more than I had to.
I would say that.
So now that he's out there, I can start digging.
Perfect.
His mom can't see us, so I can just fold him in half if that makes it easier.
Yes.
Oh my
That's
God.
half the hole I need to dig.
I love that. I would say that John is Macaulay sized.
Okay, so that's not very big.
No, John's a kind of a small guy. You're actually sort of surprised that John survived as long as he did. And not just because he got stabbed, but because kid's a tiny little scrawny guy. I'm surprised he survived this long. Anyway, so holes are being dug. I'm not gonna make anybody roll for this. You're just digging a hole. Alex, after he completes digging his hole, sort of drops very, very gently, lays Georgia down in the ground, and he kind of looks over at Leon as if to be like, you got anything right now? And Leo just kind of does one of these Silas, do you want to describe Frank's internment, so to speak?
Yeah, I just kind of, it's not a deep grave. This is a shallow grave. I also was not putting, maximum effort into this one. So back into the hole, kind of drag him in, shoulders first, get him, nice and in there and step out.
Okay.
I don't say anything the whole time.
Perfect. Macaulay?
My hole's a little bit different. I started strong, but then it's kind of slanted. I kind of gave up towards the end, but it's still enough that I know it'll cover his feet.
Okay.
His toes are sticking out.
So I drag him in there,
Oh my God.
and I say, surprised he lasted this long.
It's perfect. Okay. And Leon, you guys start, burying them, digging them, or tossing the dirt on top of them. And Leon just sort of, goes to each individual grave and is just sort of like, God's will. Peace be with you. He just kind of goes to each one. God's will, peace be with you. And he goes to George's grave and he's like, God's will, and Alex grabs Leon by the neck, and he's like, if you say peace be with you, I'm gonna strangle the fuck out of you. And Leon is very shocked. He's like, Alex, I can barely believe that you would be so hostile to me this moment. And Alex is like,
I don't know if what they're saying about you is true. All I know is that I just dug your wife's grave while you let me do it. So say what you gotta say. And be done with it.
and Leon is just sort of like, okay. And so Leon kind of kneels down next to the grave and whispers quietly. Now you can hear what he's saying. He just whispers, you know, you get the impression that it's whatever a husband would say to a wife. Maybe you don't believe that, but that's sort of the impression that he's trying to convey. And then he kind of stands up and he turns to Alex and he's like, does that work? And he says it in sort of like a passive aggressive, sarcastic way. And Alex just sort of doesn't really say anything, but you can tell that maybe it's because you guys have planted the seed that he murdered his wife with hemlock. Maybe it's just because Alex feels like he spent more of his time taking care of her than he did. You're not sure what it could be. Could be any number of things. But for whatever reason, Alex is not a real fan of Leon right now. And he's just sort of like, move along. And Leon is going to make a speech. He's just going to make, you know, he's done the individual sort of blessings, and he wants to make sort of like a grander statement that's sort of like a soliloquy for everybody. And he just says, these are wicked times. We're surrounded by death at every turn. And when I see such a grand congregation, I can only think how sad it is that we aren't more grateful for what we have. And that we squabble and bicker and fight and draw to violence. And it makes me sad. I hope you find peace. He sort of says that last bit to the three that are in the ground. And then he just sort of like, you get the impression that he's sort of like, he feels like this is a mic drop moment. And then he just sort of like walks away and kind of goes back into the cabin.
I'm gonna be like, guys, so I don't know if it's just him or if it's him and his daughter, but we need to stick together because there's safety in numbers. But there's only two of them.
I'm all for walking out. Like, we can ask, do you guys ever get the Russian guy's name? We can ask him what direction he thought the water was, and we can just get out. Like,
Peter is his name.
Peter was his name.
All right, so maybe we can find out if Peter has a heading that he can give us. I don't know. Like, this is a den of wolves that we just stumbled into, and I don't know who to trust. I don't know where Bunk went.
Can we say that Bunk got his 9mm back from before you buried him?
Well, you went off into the woods, so somebody's got. I would say that somebody has the gun. I would not say that Bunk has the gun. Somebody's got your 9mm though. I would say.
Just checking. I was just thinking about that. I gave him that.
Silas buried him.
Yeah, I would say. What's that?
That Silas buried him.
Silas buried John, and
No, I buried Frank.
Oh, you buried Frank. So let's say that Marcus was the one that attempted to calm Carol down when she was going for the gun. So let's say that after you managed to like talk her off a ledge, you went over and just sort of quietly grabbed the 9mm off the ground, and you've got Bunk's 9mm at this point.
Okay, should I put that in my backpack?
Yeah, for right now, just remember that you've got Bunk's 9mm.
Wasn't that Sam's though?
Oh fuck! It was Sam's. It was Sam's.
Bunks is not loaded.
Bunks is not loaded. We'll say that it's on the body, Frank's body. So the gun that Marcus retrieved was Sam. Thank you for clarifying that. Marcus recovered Sam's 9mm. Let's say that Silas, before you chucked Frank's body in a hole.
Yeah, I would have known.
Yeah, you retrieved the 9mm from Frank's body.
Very tastefully, always pats down bodies before he always moves bodies before he buries them.
And so amongst,
do I add that 9mm to my weapons or my backpack?
Just throw it in your backpack. Yeah, because it's not you're not using it as an active weapon. You've got your own, but like you're just like, I'm gonna grab this real quick.
It ain't even loaded.
Well, the one that Silas has is not loaded. The one
I got loaded.
But during all of this, like while this whole funeral is going on, Bunk is out in the wild, still looking for Hemlock. So, Bunk, you can give me another survival roll.
10-4.
With 2 points of stress, or no, a point of stress. Oh my God,
Jesus
with the
Christ.
ones, dude.
What did you do?
Don't forget your stress.
Don't forget your stress. Yes, roll your stress.
Bunk is the Emperor.
Okay. Jesus Christ, dude.
Shit. Wait, how many ones was that?
I am emotionally upset.
Yeah, you're very frustrated. Like, I think there's a solid case to be made that you've walked past Hemlock like 3 times, but because you're so angry.
I have red going on. After Georgia died,
yeah,
I was fucking irate, and I looked Leon dead in the eyes. He's like, "Will," and I was like, I was absolutely fucking irate, and I walked into the goddamn woods.
I'll tell you what. Just because it serves the story so well, I'll let you go ahead and roll this again without taking an additional point of stress.
Okay.
Mathematically speaking, you've got to roll.
I want to see more ones.
Thank Christ.
There
All
it is.
right.
2.
Honestly, if you hadn't rolled a 6, I was just going to tell you found Hemlock, because there's no reason for you to not find Hemlock. So yeah, you do. You're making your way through the forest, and you finally found not just some hemlock, but you find like a grove of hemlock. You find enough hemlock to put down like a team of Clydesdales.
That's how much hemlock I wanted.
Perfect. You absolutely find this. You've got like a bushel of hemlock, let's say. It's amazing. Yeah. It's quite the haul. So anyway,
don't add it to this too.
I'd like to attempt to muddle it or reduce it.
Sure.
Where it's not visible in its flower form anymore, to where nobody else could identify it, just me, and I would know what the fuck it was. I want to muddle it into like
okay.
You know,
I mean, I would say this is just a thing you can do, right? Like, honestly, the only reason I was making you roll for hemlock was to determine whether or not it was there to be found. But like, I just love this idea so much that I want you to have it. So, now that you have it, muddling it, sure. You find 2 stones, and you've got I would say you've got enough hemlock that when you're done muddling all this, you've got a solid like 2 tea bags worth of like paste. So like a solid like maybe 4 tablespoons worth of just like processed hemlock paste.
This is not a maybe like digestive problems dose. It's a
This is a one-hit.
one dose
Yeah.
fucking kill.
Yeah, this is
dose.
I'm gonna fucking murder you. If this is ingested, you're not spending a week and a half in bed hoping for symptoms to turn around. This is just like you are being poisoned dose. Yeah.
That was the intent. That was
Absolutely.
the amount that
Okay.
I was searching for.
Perfect. And you found it, and you muddled it until it was, enough to fit in the palm of your hand. But it's a nicely worked paste that you could easily add into food or drink. Nice cocktail.
Very good.
All right.
Very good.
Hey, real quick, did they bury the C4 with the body or no?
I mean, it was on Macaulay. Did Macaulay do it?
No, I still have that. I
Okay.
feel like we can use that.
Perfect. All right.
I walk back. I start walking back towards everybody else at this point. I got what I wanted, and I come back.
Okay. Leon sees you and he's like, couldn't help but notice you were not here for the service. Seems oddly disrespectful considering your demeanor.
I completely ignore him like he didn't say a fucking word to me, and I walk right past.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Is there anything else anybody wants to do? I mean, you just got done burying 3 people.
Any of us hear Alex and Leon's exchange where Alex was very pointed to the fact that he's like, I don't trust you anymore?
I mean, Alex was not in any way trying to hide it. He wasn't trying to be like specifically demonstrative to the group, but he was also not trying to hide it. So I would say that anybody that was paying attention would have seen it. It wasn't like on display, right? He wasn't trying to like send a message to the rest of you, but he wasn't trying to hide it. Alex was fully having a moment with Leon. But he wasn't trying to hide it. So I would say, sure, all of you heard it.
Okay.
Except Bunk.
Yeah, except for Bunk.
Except for Bunk, yeah. But if we were talking about maybe like taking everybody but Leon and Rebecca and getting out of here, so we all know that Alex may be willing to fuck off out of this place. Is all I was trying to confirm.
I mean, based on what you saw, you're convinced that Alex has no love lost for Leon at this point.
We could see
Bunk
what
walks over to the old stew that is lukewarm, almost cold at this point. And he announces to the group, let me just, I can actually fix this up and reheat it back up. I'll tell you what, a good meal always sets the soul right. We've had a hell of a day. And I do that, and I try to season up, add a little more wolf meat to it. You know, I kind of replenish, get it back to boiling. It's adding new shit to the old stew, so it's like extra tasty, delicious. It's the best fucking stew.
Give me another food roll.
Yeah, so I get a D10 because I fucked up the last one.
Okay. So yeah, you add some more shit. You're doing the thing.
It is. The smell is coming out of this thing. Fucking amazing.
Okay.
It is. I've outdone myself because I added to the old stew.
Okay.
I know. I love to go in depth about my stews. But
now,
but there's very few things in this world, in this post-apocalyptic shit world, that really get anybody excited. And a good, I mean, there's no fucking restaurants around. There's no fancy anything. So when somebody actually puts seasonings together, it's not like you can just go to the fucking Walmart, Kroger, whatever, and buy all this shit. So it's like, it's a big deal when somebody makes an actually seasoned real meal for you. And everybody, I feel like, would just I mean, that smell and all that taste would just, you know what, make people kind of forget their troubles a little bit. And
this is what you're saying. You're like saying all of this while you're.
I'm kind of I am. I'm kind of painting the picture and kind of as I'm doing it, putting on a show.
So as you're saying all of this,
bring the tension down.
Leon kind of walks over and he's like, "I couldn't agree more."
Yeah. I
a good meal.
You've been bowl of goddamn poison.
Community. Congregation.
And I turn to him and I say, right? We're nothing.
Fellowship.
If not a community, right? All we have left in this crazy world is each other.
So, have you attempted to add the hemlock paste to the stew yet?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, wait.
No.
I would like a bowl before.
There's no hemlock in this stew.
Before the hemlock.
It is just delicious fucking stew.
Okay.
Delicious stew. I'm serving it to everybody.
It is a new day, so everybody's. Wait, did you guys eat first thing when you woke up? I think everybody did. Actually, yeah, everybody did. Macaulay still needs to sleep for the day though, because he was up all night with Georgia. But we'll get to that. We'll play that out in another moment. So is Bunk just like serving sort of like this tribute to the fallen souls?
Absolutely, and he's making a big show of it. He's saying whenever my family died, you know, the biggest thing was the meal afterwards, and all the family and the friends would get together and we'd have a meal, and it brought us all together. And I'd just like to feel some of that.
So
I'm giving everybody.
Leon gets right to the front and he's like, I would love to break bread, metaphorically, of course, because this is stew, but I would love to share a bowl of stew with you in fellowship. And he looks you dead in the eyes when he says the word fellowship, and he just holds out a bowl. And as he's holding out this bowl, he is just locking eyes with you.
I couldn't agree more, friend. I lock eyes right back, and I dump a nice ladle of stew in there. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to really, really enjoy this.
And he looks at you and he says, you have no idea. And just sort of walks away. He sees each one of you as he walks by. He sees Marcus and he's like, fellowship. He walks past Silas and he's like, fellowship. He walks past Alex and he's like, fellowship. And he walks past Macaulay and he says, fellowship. And then he walks into, he doesn't even walk into the cabin. He finds, a stump on the ground and he sits down. He looks at Bunk straight in the eyes and he takes a bite of the stew and he just starts eating.
And so I make a joke because there's this weird fucking silence after that, right? There's this weird silence, and I say, well, obviously it ain't poison because dipshit's over here eating it. Everybody dig in. And so I start eating my own stew as well.
And
Peter, Alex, Maya, they're like, okay, this is fucking weird, but maybe that's the thing to do. So everybody goes in and they get their bowls and
I keep talking. I try to pump it up. I'm like, is this not the best thing you've had in a long time? I'm really trying to play into it to make them feel, oh my God, this is a really good fucking stew, man.
Peter's like, it tastes like bear.
Bear is really good. I love bear. Wolf's a little stringier than bear, but it's still got a good flavor to it. It's not deer, it's not bear, but it's right there. You know what? It really hits the spot. It's all you got. You know what I mean?
So are we all like inside eating the stew and Leon's like outside?
No, I mean,
being
like
all reclusive?
Bunk is making the stew outside, and you guys were just getting done burying the body. So I'd say that this is sort of like an outdoor thing where everybody's just sort of being served and just having a moment outside eating the stew. I mean, you can choose to go inside if you want to, but like the rest of the crew, like the NPCs, so to speak, they're outside just sort of like sitting on rocks and stumps and just like enjoying stew. And, some of them are having little sidebar conversations about like, I remember this one time when blah, 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 blah. And just sort of reminiscing.
I'm keeping an eye on the stew, and I'm taking note if everybody got first helping.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, I would say, unless any of you decided not to eat, everybody has gone through the line at least once.
Okay. Everybody's gone through the line once. Okay. I'm gonna go around. To my comrades. I'm gonna go up to I see our group, Silas and Shane. Everybody just kind of like hanging out over by a thing, and I want to be like, hey, everybody all, we gonna head out, or what are we gonna do here? I think this place is kind of played out, and I don't know what else we can do with these people. It's been kind of a shit show since we got here. What are we thinking?
Leon's giving me like creepy vibes. I feel like if I sleep here tonight, he's gonna kill me. I think I'm just gonna throw this out there because it's not something new. I think we should kill him.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
Oh, for sure. Keep that quiet. I'm 100% I'm going to poison this stew and leave it for him. But we are going to make sure that we take all of us and whoever else we think is cool. Obviously, his trail angel buddies. And I mean, that EMT looks pretty cool. We could definitely use another medic. But yeah, I'm definitely going to poison this stew and leave it for that asshole so he can get what's coming to him.
All right, but there's also his like daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about her either.
I mean, I would love to have somewhere where a group of people felt safe together, but since the moment we got here, this has felt really off. So yeah, if we're ready to move on, I'm down.
I think we should talk to Alex, see like what his like, because he doesn't just hang out here. He just like happened upon this place, right? So we should see where he's gonna go next, because we could use a healer since ours is like off on another adventure trying to catch up with us. But we could see where he's at, and we could see if he's down with us just like taking him out real quick so we could have another night's rest here before we head out.
All right.
I agree.
We might need to check with Peter too. I saw that motherfucker lifting boulders earlier. I don't know.
That guy's pretty rad.
Oh yeah.
Basically, I want to rope everybody into our plan for our exodus that we're cool with, and definitely not Leon and that fucked up girl that's traveling with him. I don't even know if that's his daughter.
Okay. So yeah, we should. Okay, who you want to start with?
Alex. Peter's on board. Them Rooskies are cool with secret plans, no matter what. That's just the Rooski way.
I was gonna say I could talk to Peter, and Marcus could be like, "Hey, we're gonna get out of here. I know you're trying to go this way, but if we go this way, then that way, you can still get where you're going."
Is that what you actually say to Peter? Are you like talking to him about it, or is that just like the idea that you're bouncing off of the rest of the people in your group?
That's what I'm saying to the guys. Like me and Peter, like we forehead kissed. I think he'll listen to me. If you are cool with me talking to Peter, I think he's on board. want to get Alex and Maya, and then we can poison these fucks.
Hey, Bunk, I grabbed your unloaded 9, so here you go.
Fantastic. Thank you. I was wondering where that went. I take it and I load up. I have the
Dice fucker tried to shoot me, and now he's gone.
I had already reloaded the clip that I had taken out, and so I just take the unloaded thing, pop a clip in, and put it in my back belt.
If you go, do you guys need any like backup or talking to people? If not, I'm gonna go try and make a hat out of this wolf pelt that I got.
Perfect. I love it.
No, I think we all play it cool. I think we tell the people that need to know that we're maybe thinking about moving on, and everybody else, they can just do whatever they want. I'm not sure about not sure about them. So they're probably going to die of poison.
But I just want to be clear that I would like to stay. I don't want to start traveling in the dark. Like,
yeah, understood.
Okay. And I want to make sure this poisons him like quickly, because if I'm definitely gonna have tonight, and I don't want him fucking with me when I'm asleep.
I think it's abundantly clear that if he ingests just a little bit of this paste, he's gonna die, right?
Okay.
It was a bushel of hemlock.
Bunk will absolutely. Bunk will make sure that this does exactly what it's supposed to do. He will stand there staring into the man's eyes until it does what it's supposed to do.
Okay. Because I mean, I know this is very poetic and everything, but I've got a wood axe that I could bury into his head if we need to.
I'll hang by you when you decide it's time to take a rest, and I'll stay up.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And me and Sean and Sam and Peter are like a wall on the other side, like whatever we need. I think they're on board.
Okay.
I think.
Perfect.
Go get Alex. I don't really know this Alex guy, but who Shane was talking to him more than anybody, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would say Macaulay had more interactions with Alex than anybody else.
I tell Shane to go get Alex and bring him out to our little powwow.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, yo, Alex, can we have a word?
Sure.
Us and our guys we've got an idea to like keep our bunk safe, basically.
When you say bunk, do you mean that literally or metaphorically, or are we talking about a person? Are you talking about a place?
I mean, like a place that we're sleeping.
You're talking
safe.
about this cabin.
The area, the cabin, yeah, the cabin safe. Sorry, my vocabulary is so huge. Sometimes I forget that I'm talking to normal people. The uneducated.
He's like, okay. It's like, what do you got? What do you need?
Okay, so I bring him over to Bunk and let him lay out the plan.
I kind of get real close into him and I say, you and I both know how Georgia died, don't we?
He's just like,
I think we do.
I think we both know who did it too, don't we?
I think we do.
I kind of slip him. I kind of shake his hand. And when I do, I put a little pouch with all that fucking hemlock paste in his hand.
mm-hmm.
And I say, hair of the dog. I say, retribution. This is exactly what killed Georgia. And this is what that man deserves.
And he sort of looks at you, and you can see him as you slip this little pouch into his hand. He sort of like squeezes it. He makes like this tight fist. And he's just like, I think we do.
Well, there's some stew over there. It's still warm, still pretty tasty. Definitely safe. I don't know. You want to make a peace offering. But I'll tell you what, my clan, Peter over there, and you are more than welcome. We might make our exodus, or maybe a short exodus and right back, but we're going to kind of thin the herd a little bit, and we're moving on from this place. There's too much death.
So Alex just kind of takes a deep breath in and exhales, and he nods. He doesn't say anything. Do you guys want to make any arrangements with Peter before?
Yeah, Marcus is gonna talk to him.
Yeah, I was gonna talk to Peter, be like, hey, know that you're wanting to head north to the border, but if you want to join our fellowship here, I can't promise you I'll get you where you're going, but we can, strengthen numbers, keep you safe, and eventually we'll do what we can to help you get to where you're going.
So Peter looks at you, and he's just sort of like, he looks around.
These people mean nothing to me. I have nothing against them, but people live, people die.
He looks at you, and he's like,
I have a plan. I have a destination. If you're ready to leave, I suggest you come with me.
and then he looks you square in the eyes, and he says,
If only we had 2 rolls of gold bullion coins.
he pats you on the shoulder, puts his hand around the back of your head, pulls you in close. You guys forehead kiss again, and he's like,
If only.
and then he walks away.
Can we rewind that and just, when Peter says he doesn't care about these people, if he says if they die, they die, can we just get that?
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah, so anyway.
Fuck.
For all intents and purposes, you get the impression that if you guys are getting ready to fuck off, not only is Peter willing to go, but he has a destination in mind. And he didn't explicitly say it, but you get the impression that he's like, come with me. I've got a plan.
So I think we're very visibly like getting our gear all packed up, throwing everything back in the thing.
I thought we were sleeping here tonight still. Because
Yeah, dude, we don't want to travel in the dark.
Mac he's been up all night.
All right, never mind.
Yeah, Mac has not slept yet. Mac's going on like a marathon. He's on like almost a 24-hour stretch right now.
I'm super rested. I'm good. So I'll take watch or whatever.
Okay.
I was hoping to make that hat.
You do see, however, you watch Alex. He's got this fistful of hemlock paste. And he walks over to the stew. And he's real subtle about it. And like, the only reason that Bunk sees what's happening is because you planted the idea in his head and you are specifically watching to make sure that he does it. Outside of that, Nobody would notice that this is happening, but Alex goes over to the stew pot, and you can tell that he adds the hemlock paste. Oh, Matt's walking away. I'm gonna have to draw this out.
I make sure I tell everybody else. Can I pee real quick? I'm sorry.
Yeah, do we want to take like another real quick break? This is gonna be so anticlimactic because as soon as we come back, that's gonna be it. But like, let's take a break because I've been holding it for like minutes.
Yeah,
All right, like
same. I'm gonna
2 minute break. 2 minute break.
Yeah.
Okay, so as much as that break was the worst timed because we're almost at the end. Anyway, where'd we pick up?
He snuck it into the stew.
Yeah,
Alex
okay.
did.
Alex was sneaking it into the stew, and he is stirring it up. Bunk, you're completely convinced that at this point, anybody that eats this stew, they won't survive the night. They're not going to be up for a couple of days being nursed to by Alex. They're not going to have, a fever and different symptoms. They will be lucky to survive the next hour.
So I am keeping a very close eye because I knew Alex was going to add it to the stew. And so I'm definitely keeping a close eye to make sure that none of my compatriots or anyone that I love other than this douchebag gets any part of that stew. So I'm like watching the stew after he added that shit to it.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So he's mixing up the stew, and just like you kind of suggested, this notion of like a peace offering. You see Marcus get a big ladle of stew, pours it into the bowl. He goes over to Leon. Leon has already finished
is this Alex?
Or I'm sorry,
Alex?
yes, Alex.
Whoa.
Who did I say was doing that? It doesn't
Marcus.
matter.
You said
Marcus. Sorry, no. Leon. Jesus Christ.
Alex.
So many NPCs. Alex has a very large bowl of stew that he has dosed with this hemlock. And he goes over to Leon. And Leon has already finished his first bowl of stew. And he's just kind of like kicked back. He's got his feet kicked up. And you can just tell he just seems to be not enjoying, but at least meditative to a certain extent. That he's just sort of taking in the day, taking in the moment. And Alex just says, he hands the stew to him and he says, "I'm sorry for what I said. I'm sorry you lost your wife. I'm sorry I couldn't do more." And Lucas, Jesus Christ, so fucking names. Leon takes the stew bowl from Marcus, and he looks at from Alex, for fuck's sake. Takes the stew from Alex. I'm ruining this very dramatic moment.
All right.
And he looks at Alex and he says, "It was God's will." He takes a spoon, gets a spoonful of the stew, looks at Alex. He says, "Thank you for all you did for her." And then he looks over straight at Bunk, looks Bunk straight in the eyes. Doesn't miss a beat, doesn't break eye contact, shoves a whole spoonful of stew in his mouth, and the entire time he's chewing, he's just staring Bunk dead in the eyes, just chewing, and he swallows, and he says, "Blessed be." He motions to Rebecca. He's like, "It's up to you now." He kisses her on the forehead. He stands up. He's like, "I feel like today's been spent. I'm gonna go lay down." He walks into the cabin. He lays down. And
Hold.
oh,
Follows
I
me.
mean, Yeah. I mean, if you want to follow him in.
Bunk wants to follow him.
You
I would
want
like to follow.
you guys gonna follow him in? Leon just sort of casually, like, he sees all of you following him in, and he's just sort of like, he lays down, covers his face with his hat, and he lays down. And before, he gets real comfortable. And then it sort of seems like before he drifts off, he raises his hat back off of his eyes, and he looks at Macaulay, and he says, I know I can count on you. And then he closes his eyes.
Wait. No, he does not.
No?
Bunk has something to say to this motherfucker.
Okay.
Bunk leans over and very delicately whispers, these are wicked times. You should have been grateful for what you've had. I hope you find peace.
Shit, dude. That was cold. Also,
You weren't at the
hell of like a
funeral.
way to tie that back in, dude. Way to tie
Bunk was
that back in.
listening. Bunk was in the forest, but he always here.
He had his scope on his ear.
So he closes his
Edgar
eyes.
flying around.
Edgar flying around. So he pulls his hat back down over his eyes. And Rebecca comes rushing in, and she looks at Macaulay. She's like, I don't understand. She runs over to her father. He is pretty peaceful for a minute, and then suddenly he starts to convulse. This is over the span of, like, let's say 30 minutes. And then he starts to foam at the mouth. And then a little bit of blood starts to drip out of his right nostril. And then he falls limp in the cot. And Rebecca looks confused. She's stunned. She's confused. She looks at her dad, and she's just sort of like, Daddy? She like shakes him a little bit, and she's like, Daddy? She gets super anxious. And then she turns to Macaulay, and she says, I thought you were supposed to help him. And that's where we're going to end it tonight.
Oh.